Hello, every pony. This is Nightlife, and I must say something very quickly. I am very, 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 very sorry about my sluggish and inexcusably slow rate of uploads lately, especially with the new My Little Mommies thing that I'm doing. To be honest, I just got the Technic pack, or Technic mod pack for Minecraft, and then Borderlands 2 came out. Yeah, if you couldn't notice, I'm a bit of a gamer. Oh well, I stay up all night. What else am I gonna do? All right. So let's get straight to it. This time I will be doing a My Little Mommies Chapter 2 this time. This is by 3 Power, I believe. Yes, it is. And little disclaimer, it is 4:30 in the morning. No, I am not kidding. It is that late. Oh well, let's hope I don't yawn too much. Ugh, almost had one more there. Hmm. Uh. Oh my god. I just read the very first couple lines of this, and it's already hilarious. I've been asked if I'm high a lot of times because I do look the part. I really do. And I think it's fun to mess with people and say, dude, I'm totally high on this stuff. It's called leather. Have you ever done leather before? It just freaks them all out. But no, I am not. I do not do drugs. If only for the fact that my father does them, and I despise the man. He is very much like Pinkie Pie's family, rock farming family. Back on the rock, back on the rock, back on the rock farm. Only he's hostile as well. Yeah. So, without further ado, let's get straight into this. This is My Little Mommy's Chapter 2, The Raven, by 3 Power. She had done it. Applejack had broken the one rule Granny Smith had told her never to break, or she'd be kicked out of the family. She got pregnant before she was married. uh, well, okay. She didn't really. Technically, inadvertently created a child by way of an ancient artifact. However, the question occupying Applejack's frantically racing mind was whether the distinction was too fine for Granny Smith. Zap Apples had made the elderly mare a bit more familiar with magic than most Earth ponies cared to admit, but asking her to accept that a baby popped out of nowhere because of magic was a bit much. That was half of the problem. The other half had to do with the identity of the father, or rather, the lack of one. Granny Smith was an old-fashioned pony, and Applejack didn't think she'd be too keen on her great-granddaughters having 2 mommies. I can get where y'all can get where she's coming from, right? Right? To make matters worse, looking at the 3 foals, it was surprisingly easy to figure out which apple fell from her tree. And the fact that the blonde filly had a unicorn's horn and a white coat meant that her partner was likely the similarly colored mare freaking out next to her. Okay, I can tell already this is going to be like the total opposite of One More Thing, like as far as on the emotional spectrum. Although it might turn that way, I don't know. You know how drama is, right? Scandal! Rarity cried out hysterically. If word of this gets out, my high society social life will be ruined forever. Your social life? Rarity objected, similarly panicked. The Wonderbolts do shows all over Equestria. They're constantly on tour. I'll never be able to join if I had to stay home and change diapers all day. Um, girls, came a small voice. It'll be fine. Twilight said to herself madly as she looked at the reflection of herself in one of the windows. The princess will understand. Oh, well, I'm sorry you won't be able to pursue your hobbies, Rainbow Dash. Ray snapped back. I, on the other hand, depend on my reputation, my reputation for business. There you had it then. Even if Granny Smith didn't throw her out on her orange rump, Applejack was going to be raising a foal all on her own. Tears began to well in her eyes. Hobby, do you think the Wonderbolts work for free? Can you ask my ticket stubs you can ask my ticket stubs any time, Missy. They do not. Oh my. I I just got the image of like a ticket stub with like 100 bits for like adult. Yeah, girls. The voice whispered again. What is that voice and where is it coming from? Is it their conscious? Did one of the fillies learn to talk? That would be so cool. We all know. They'll all understand. Oh, but what if they don't? Twilight panicked. What if the princess pulled me from my friendship stage and gives me a job in magic daycare? That's almost worse than magic kindergarten. Another mouth to feed. Another mouth to feed in their already poor family, and no one to help her do it. I don't know what you're yelling about. I don't know what. I don't know what we're yelling about. I don't know what we're yelling about. Pinky screamed. Girls! Fluttershy called out at the top of her lungs, blasting her stare full. Blasting. Whoa! Blasting her stare full power at her 5 friends. Son of a gun! That's. I'd rather get stared down by a cockatrice. Or cockatrice. Cockatrice? Please! Flying fish! If you get that reference, I will give you a hug. Applejack snapped out of her catatonic state and met Fluttershy's gaze. Twilight stopped arguing with herself. Rarity and Rainbow stopped snapping at each other, and Pinky stopped bouncing around the room aimlessly. I love this story so much. At that moment, everybody became aware of another noise in the room. Please, girls, you're upsetting them, Fluttershy said, gesturing towards the 3 foals who were now gushing tears and screaming at the top of their lungs. I can't do that because my parents are sleeping, and my brothers. Listen, I know you're scared right now. I am too, Fluttershy said as she floated over to the fluffy pink foal and scooped her up in her forelegs. But right now, these foals need us. They're the ones we need to be worrying about. The ponies looked at the babies crying their eyes out, and for a moment something instinctual took over. All the worries, all the problems that lay ahead of them seemed to fade away for a moment. Fuck. Sorry. It's astonishing how the elements of generosity never mind. Ah, shoot. I'm sorry, little ones, Applejack said, walking forward and scooping up the foal she'd guessed was her own. I got a little lost in my thoughts. Your mommies are here. All of them. This is so cool. After a moment's hesitation, Twilight approached the remaining filly, levitating her into the air, and began to gently rock her. There, she said. Stop crying. Everything's going to be okay. Meanwhile, Pinky and Rainbow began showing the foals their entire repertoire of ridiculous faces. I remember back to baby cakes, or what was it? Yeah, I think that was the episode Baby Cakes. it's Pinky's like, ooh, Mickey's in fashion. I have one. That was awesome. I love this. Alright. Applejack lifted the blonde filly over her shoulder and began patting her back. Rarity stood a few feet away, fidgeting in uncertainty. After a few moments, she took a deep breath, stepped forward, and patted the filly on the head. Meow. It's 4 o'clock, kitty. Go to bed. Fine, sleep here. Sorry, I have a cat. Yeah, surprising, right? Yeah. There, she said. Applejack snorted. I'm not used to this, Rarity pouted, her cheeks turning red. I read ahead a little bit. It gets even more hilarious. Oh, cat fell. She looked over at the other two groups. Rainbow was waggling her tongue out at the purple filly, held up between Twilight's levitation, while Pinkie Pie was. I'm sorry. Softly singing some sort of impromptu song to the pink filly held by Fluttershy. She looked back at the filly crying on the back of Applejack's shoulder. This is ours, isn't it? She asked. Yep, I reckon so. At that moment, the foal let out a rather large burp. Definitely yours, Rarity added. Applejack chuckled. I think every pony's figured out who goes with who. Rarity's. Oh, I think every pony's figured out who goes with who. Rarity said, looking over at the other two groups. They don't seem bothered by it. Applejack nodded. Pinky was Fluttershy's first friend in Ponyville, Applejack recalled. Oh, Pinky was Fluttershy's first friend in Ponyville, Applejack recalled. They've known each other for a pretty long time, and Rainbow and Twilight have been spending an awful lot of time together ever since Rainbow got into reading, Rarity added. I think the only pair here that ever had trouble getting along was the two of us. The two of us, Applejack finished. There was a long silence between them, and then Rarity spoke. Oh, is there shipping going to be involved? Maybe. I don't know. It wasn't tagged for shipping. I don't know. Applejack, I just don't know if I... Rarity. Applejack gently interrupted. Fluttershy's right. There's a lot to worry about. But we can take... Sorry. But we can take our time and figure things out later. One thing at a time. Applejack stepped forward towards Rarity, the foal still crying over her shoulder. But I promise you, we'll find a way to work this all out. Rarity sniffled. Pinky promise? She said with a slight hint of a smile. Sure, Applejack answered with a smile of her own, mimicking with her free hoof the act of sticking a cupcake in her eye. Wait, stop, close eye. Cross my heart, hope the flies can come in my... Ow! Pinky promise. This is an amazing story. Somehow, between the 6 of them, they were able to stop the foals from crying, and the mansion was once again relatively quiet. I don't know what happened there. I had a frog in my throat. Alright, the foals are happy, Applejack said, adjusting the one she was holding over her own shoulder. So now what? We should probably find a place for them to sleep tonight, Twilight suggested. It's too dangerous for us to head out now. I might be able to use my magic to modify a bed into a crib. No, Fluttershy objected in a steady, firm voice. We need to get out of here as soon as possible. Uh, what? What? Rarity asked, surprised. But the forest. Pinky, how many bottles of formula do you have left? Fluttershy asked, turning her gaze to the pink pony. None, she answered. They were just for emergencies, after all. And diapers? I have an unopened 4-pack in here. Ooh. She said, gathering it, glancing in her saddlebag. You see? The yellow Pegasus said, turning back to the others. We're already out of supplies, and that's not even our biggest problem right now. What do you mean? Well, what do you mean? Rainbow asked, cocking an eyebrow. These are newborns, Fluttershy explained, holding up the pink filly in her forelegs. Even if they weren't born in the traditional sense, they still need to be checked out by a doctor. Furthermore, formula was a good substitute for the time being, but newborns gain lots of antibodies, important antibodies from the mother's milk that protects them from all kinds of disease. And I'm sure this isn't news to anyone, but none of us are lactating. Be professional. The rest of the group nodded, somewhat uncomfortable. Nope, Pinky agreed. No, wait. She bent her head down and looked between her forelegs and on her belly, then lifted her head back up. Nope. Twilight, meanwhile, was stunned by the way Fluttershy suddenly took charge. But even if that's the case, Fluttershy, Twilight sputtered out anxiously, do you really think we should risk taking the babies through the woods? No, Fluttershy answered as she glanced towards Rainbow Dash. I think we should call for help. Oh, yeah. Rainbow exclaimed, throwing her hooves in. Wow, baby, coming out, woo! Throwing her hooves in the air as she hovered above. Is it back to Manhattan? Find Spike and contact the princesses. She sends a few royal carriages and we airlift the rest of you out of here. Still think that's a good plan. Applejack nodded. The ponies looked toward Twilight. Well, I kind of get the feeling we should stay together, but Twilight shook her head. Go for it, Rainbow. All right. Ugh. Warning. Meme ahead. The rainbow-colored mare called out as she dashed through the hallway back to the entrance. Back in a flash. Yeah. Deadpan. Just be careful. Twilight called out to her. Bring me back a mid-century of harmony. Pinky added. She looked around at the others. What? She asked. You've got to buy souvenirs when you go to Manhattan. Deciding to let it be, Twilight changed topics. In any case, we should probably get these foals into diapers before it's too. At the moment, she was going to lavender foal. She had been levitating, decided to leave herself right then and there. Oh. Late, she finished grimly. Rory's eyes probably rolled in the back of her head as she collapsed on the floor. Oh, Rarity. Fluttershy shook her head, looking down at the unconscious mare. You can't go fainting over every little thing. Oh my, it comes full circle. She looked up to see the other three staring at her. What? She asked. Rainbow shut the mansion's heavy door behind her and then took off into the night sky. She looked around, quickly detecting the city's lights in the distance and blasting off in the same direction at full speed. Rainbow loved her friends, but they were seriously slow. The only part she hated about spending time with them was how long it took to get everywhere whenever they were traveling. It had taken them something like 4 hours just to hike to the mansion. While at this speed, Rarity was likely to make it to the hotel in 15 minutes. Still, it was good to have someone to talk to, something Rarity was quickly discovering. When she was attempting to cheer up the foals with her friends, her mind was occupied. But now, flying alone through the moonlit sky, all the apprehension and negative thoughts came flowing back. Another god! Hooray! Every time I yawn, take a shot or take a drink. Doesn't matter what, as long as it's got alcohol, you'll be out before the story's over. That'd be a good drinking game, actually. Every time Nightlife yawns, take a drink. Still, this wasn't supposed to happen, she thought aloud. Rainbow was never the fluffiest cloud in the sky, but she knew what she wanted out of life. She knew what her dream was, to join the Wonderbolts. And she was pretty good at singling out both the things that could help her achieve that dream, and the things that could destroy it in an instant. Having a kid was one of the latter. In her adolescent years, Rainbow had seen a few classmates fall into that trap. She'd seen how the pregnancy had reduced their fly speed due to the increased weight and wind resistance. For some reason, they were more concerned with stuff like having to leave school. Who'd be upset about that? Seriously. But as the opponent with speed as her goal, Rainbow knew she couldn't carry any dead weight. To that extent, she had gone out of her way to avoid contact with members of the opposite sex during high school, a habit that quickly resulted in a number of false rumors being spread about her. The rainbow-colored mane kind of hints too. Rumors that would probably start again threefold once people discovered she had managed to successfully reproduce with another mare. That reminds me of the panel where some numbnut actually asked to the Studio B people, "Is Rainbow Dash a lesbian?" Just face ground. Severe face ground. She sighed at. This is awesome. I have tears in my eyes from laughing. She sighed at the thought, even as she continued to fly towards Manhattan, unaware of the dark shadows that had begun chasing after her from beneath the trees. Luckily, Rainbow had managed to skip the whole pregnancy side of things, leaving her as mobile as she'd ever been. But there was the whole time side of things. She couldn't both go on tour with the Wonderbolts and take care of a foal. And even though Twilight would be there, she couldn't just dump all the responsibility on her. Besides, Rainbow had read about what happens to the foals of rock stars, and such that were always on tour. They usually end up pretty messed up. Rainbow didn't want something that happened to her girl. Rainbow sighed again. Suddenly, somehow, even though this had just happened to her today, even though she hadn't gone through 11 months of pregnancy, even though it was brought about by some magic mirror, part of her had already accepted that little technicolor squirt as her daughter. Rainbow smiled and gave her a determined nod. "All right," she said. "Somehow we're gonna make this whoa, whoa, whoa!" She felt a strange change in the flow of air, and she had turned her neck back just in time to see 3 sets of razor-sharp talons swoop down behind her, shaving an inch of rainbow-colored hair from her mane. The raven. She had twisted her body in midair to avoid the blow, and nearly crashed into a tree as a result, managing to recover enough to hover above the forest. "Hey, what's the big idea?" she yelled after the black shape now flying away. Wait, 3 sets? Oh, yeah, okay. Huh? 3 sets? Oh, blech, oh, whatever. she yelled after the black shape now flying away from her. In response, it turned and began diving toward Rainbow Dash. It was a huge bird, a raven, larger than any Rainbow had ever seen, maybe half the size of the red dragon they had faced on top of Smoky Mountain that one time. Scheißen. It was pitch black, which made it hard to make out against the night sky. But its eyes were blood red and focused directly on Rainbow Dash. Yeah! Rainbow cried as she flew down into the forest to dodge the second attack. The bird's three legs shattered the tops of the trees as it flew by overhead. Yeah. Sending out wooden splinters that rained down upon her head. Yeah. That frog was it. Without a second thought, Rainbow burst from below the trees and beat her wings furiously as she headed towards Manhattan like her life depended on it, since it probably did. She heard the monstrous bird claw behind her and dared to look. It is actually said like that. Oh, 1 second, y'all. Hey, kitty, kitty. Hey, kitty, kitty, kitty. 1 second. And I had to get the me with me. Not the Pokemon, the cat. And his name was Tazzy. He looks a bit like a gray stripy cat. Well, it was following her, but the distance between them was slowly becoming larger. Alright, she thought, it can't match me at top speed. For a moment, Rainbow thought she was safe, until she noticed the forest below her had suddenly gotten a lot brighter, and her hindquarters had become inexplicably warm. Ew. Swerving on reflex, Rainbow gasped in horror as a jet of fire surged past her left flank, singeing her wing and lighting several treetops on fire. Before she could even process what happened, she was forced to swerve again to avoid another blast of fire, this time from the right. Rainbow snapped her wings against the air as hard as she could in an effort to gain whatever distance she could from the creature still pursuing her. Still, she needed a plan, and quick. She was off course and couldn't keep its pace up forever. Suddenly, it came to her. She's... Oh gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Crap. Lesson 0. The, sonic rain boom. Like the sonic rain nuke. I hope that's what happens. Rainbow slowed her pace slightly. It was enough. She felt the rush of heat coming up from behind her and quickly flapped her wings vertically. The jet of flame passed by underneath her, but Rainbow rode the warm air current emanating from the flames, using it to boost herself upwards and upwards into a steep climb. The bird began climbing after Rainbow Dash, continuing to shoot fire after her. However, due to gravity and the lack of oxygen to burn, the flames were no longer reaching Rainbow. When she was high enough, the Pegasus turned herself as she headed back towards Manhattan and went into a dive. The bird immediately went after her with a screech. I think I know what's going to happen. Big, bulky thing can't maneuver quite as well. My disk drive just suddenly, randomly popped open. The hell? Okay. Rainbow felt the mounting air pressure against her forehooves as she continued to pound the wings that were now screaming in pain. Almost, she thought as the forest below gazing at the forest below through watery eyes. Almost, and there it was. The sonic rain boom is best described as a rubber band formed at high pressure, as a rubber band formed from air pressure when a Pegasus moves at high speed. If the Pegasus is unable to break through this rubber band is unable to break through this rubber band, then they are simply sent flying by it. If the Pegasus does break the band, it still snaps back, but with a wave of color based on the streak that any Pegasus moving at high speeds will emit. This streak is sent out across the resulting sonic boom, forming a forming in Rainbow's case a sonic rain boom. I it is a Scotsman's thing. The long and short of it is, you don't want to be in the path of a sonic rain boom as it snaps back. Ooh, I get it. Yeah, which is actually true. That's why jet fighters don't tail each other when they're going at when they approach Mach 1. Yeah, it's. You remember those air cannon things, the big, uh, like gun type thing, the little uh, flap that you pull back, and it's got a spring. You let it go, and it's woof, and it's like sends like a ball of air across the room, like even across like an auditorium. Yeah, it's like one of those, only with the force of a few sticks of dynamite added to it. You're getting smacked in the face by an anvil. Comedy, Looney Tunes style. I'm off on a tangent. I'm sorry. The dark creature smacked into the incoming wall of air pressure, and sound and was flung half a mile in the opposite direction, where it unceremoniously crashed into the forest, leveling a dozen trees in the process. Holy shit. Oop, I'm sorry. As for Rainbow, she was now moving at sonic speeds, but no longer had the energy to flap her wings. So she simply glided towards Manhattan until momentum could carry her no further, and grabbed hold of a passing tree. For a moment, she just panted, and as she hung to the tree branch, until she finally had the breath to scream, "Whoa! Whoa! Take that, you big feathered freak! Ah, ah." Oh man, she thought. What the hey was that? Rainbow had never heard of a giant, fire-breathing, three-legged bird before in her life. But what scared her most about it was the timing. I encountered a giant monster seconds after leaving the shrine devoted to the father of all monsters. Rainbow thought. Coincidence? Unlikely. Coincidence? Yay! Rainbow knows a word with more than 3 syllables. Now, and that fanon where she can't read the derp. Bullshit. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Rainbow Dash is certainly literate, and she is possibly lesbian. I don't know. Depends on what you think. Honestly, I don't really care. She looked towards Manhattan. She was still about a quarter mile away from the city proper, and if she didn't fly over and if she didn't fly over the uh, Cruds Crudson River, it'd be a long walk. Still, she had to do it. Her friends were counting on her, as was her daughter. I just need to rest for a few minutes, she thought, continuing to pant. Behind her, a pair of dark shadows twisted up the trees. When they reached the top, they began to expand rapidly. Noticing that, ugh, noticing that the light shining from the moon behind her was suddenly blocked, Rainbow slowly turned her head to look. There, each balancing atop a tree, was a pair of giant ravens identical to the one Rainbow had just defeated. Oh, that's just not fair. Oh, it's about to get so awesome. I read ahead a little bit, smidge. Oh, that's not fair, she thought, launching herself from the trees just before it burst into flames, the birds having shot out flames from their beaks. She desperately tried to flap, but after a moment her wings seized up, and she ended up crashing through the forest, rolling and tumbling until she came to a clearing on the bank of the Crudson River. Damn it! Damn it, she thought as the 2 giant ravens landed on either side of her. Just a little more I could get the guards' help. Come on, Wings. However, it was useless. Rainbow Dash had already pushed herself past her limit. She could no longer muster the strength to even stand up. She lay on her back as the 2 monsters looked down at her. One of them opened its beak. This was the end. And then, with a claw, with a claw, no, with a claw, the claw, with a caw, caw, just for fall. The raven was blasted away with a beam of blue light. Any guesses? It's not Trixie. Crashing into a grove of trees and laying there unmoving. Foul beasts! Thou dare pollute our night with thy presence? Princess Luna belted out in the royal Canterlot voice. Oh shit! As she swooped down from above, her eyes burning white with anger as she gathered the magic in her horn. The other raven took off, hastily spitting out flames at the incoming goddess, which bounced harmlessly off a shield of pure moonlight she had conjured. Holy shit! Oh yeah. Still, it was enough to give the monster the opening it was looking for. The raven ignited, bursting into flames as a phoenix would. To Rainbow's eyes, it looked like an enormous mass of smoke chaining into fire as it spread through the sky. It screeched, and then along with the jet from its beak, flapped its wings toward the princess, sending out a massive wave of flame. Luna held firm against the assault, her moonlight barrier absorbing everything the raven threw at her. Thy power is known to us, though craven Corby, Luna taunted. It is foolish to go against us with strength obtained from the sun. The last of the flames were absorbed. Luna focused the magic from her barrier back into her horn. For the moon reflects it. This is why Luna is my favorite of the sisters. With that, Luna unleashed the entirety of the energy she had absorbed in the form of a massive beam of pure moonlight, which engulfed the raven and sent it flying back into the night sky, forming a new star on the horizon. Team Rock is blasting off again! Ding! Behind her, the other raven dissolved back into shadow, slipping away into the forest. Rainbow breathed a sigh of relief. She was safe. Art thou all right, Rainbow Dash? Luna asked as she landed next to the exhausted Pegasus. We saw that burst of chromatic light and came to investigate. That was awesome, Princess. She panted, somehow managing to stand on her hooves. What were those things? Ancient monsters formed of the unnatural merging of phoenixes and crows. Luna answered, frighteningly intelligent, but hideously based in their temperament. But more importantly, she added, why were they chasing thee? I just love Luna's dialect, I guess. Her mannerisms when she's speaking. Her accent, I guess you would call it. As she recovered, Rainbow did her best to explain the events of that night. Their mission, the foals, the attack, everything. I see, Luna said simply when Rainbow had finished. So Schlefnir's machinations still manage to curse good ponies to this day. I guess, Rainbow said. Anyway, I've got to... Whoa! Rainbow took a step forward and suddenly found her vision blurring and consciousness fading. Luna quickly reached out with her magic and stopped her from falling, jolting the Pegasus back to consciousness. Thou art injured and exhausted, Luna explained. We will fly thee to Spike, so that he may contact our sister, and then thee will rest. She took off, levitating Rainbow along with her. But Princess, I've got to get back there, Rainbow objected. Thou needn't worry, Rainbow Dash, Luna answered with a smile. For from this day forward, thy friends and thine daughters are under my protection. Holy shit! That's the end of the chapter. Holy shiza. What the? Wow. just wow. It's only been 40 minutes, like to the dot. Oh well. Ooh, I have a new Tumblr. It is, I believe, frick, I can't remember it. I've just made it the other day. Uh, crap. 1 second. Ah, yes, here it is. That would be nightlifereads.tumblr.com. If you don't know what Tumblr is, it's a little blog tab thingy where I will be uploading all of my MP3 files so that it's not quite as big and so it doesn't take so long to load. And I might get more followers and more people and get my stuff out more. So yes, I shall be doing this. Again, that is nightlifereads.tumblr.com. I will put a link in the YouTube description. So yeah, this has been My Little Mommies Chapter 2, The Raven by 3 Power. I say, and this is of course on vimfiction.net. So if you want to read the story yourself, go there, or please at least go there and tell them they did an awesome job, because 3 Power is one hell of an author. And here's a little thing. Each and every one of these was uploaded within a few days of each other. It's kind of out of order for some weird reason, but the previous one was uploaded. The latest one, which is Chapter 4, The Moonlit Path, was uploaded on September 18th of this year. Chapter 2, which I just read, was submitted on the 13th of September this year. Yeah. Expect more soon. And I'm not even caught up yet. Yeah. Oh well, I'm gonna stop making a fool of myself and get this up. Who am I kidding? I don't edit at all. If the most editing I've ever done is cut out silence and amplify and reduce like clicks and noise and shit. I don't cut out any of what I say. Everything you're basically getting a raw feed here. So yeah, and I don't know why y'all like listening to me stutter and yawn and derp and go derp all the time, but for some reason y'all do. So yay! Oh well. Again, I'll be posting this on Tumblr and YouTube. So yeah, that again. It's in the description. My Tumblr account, the Tumblr you should be following. nightlifereads.tumblr.com. Yeah, so that's all I have to say right now. I better get done before the sun rises. Nightlife out.